Rich Shea here with another unboxing. This time Uwe Rosenberg's Nusfjord, which I'm probably mispronouncing, from Mayfair Games, which will sadly no longer be with us. I had a little trouble getting this one, and we finally had to import it from England, although I think copies are coming to America soon. It's a beautiful cover, game about a fishing village. One of the things about this game is you might see some resemblances to Glass Road. Certainly what I saw when I was looking online. And as you would expect, a bunch of bags. The wooden components have, let's see what I can do. Some player pieces in the player colors. I think it's there are 4, red, white, yellow, green. There are fish. The blue pieces are fish, and this is a game about fishing, so probably not vegan friendly. There's wood, because if you didn't have wood you have to clear, how much fun would a game be? Like Martin Wallace with loans, it's Uwe Rosenberg with getting some wood. There's a boat here. I think there's just the one used to mark one track in the game. There are lots of these bits, as you can see, mostly fish. I think there's even a thank you from somebody who let them use the fish shape. Next are cards. There are basically 3 decks of cards. Let's see if I have less trouble opening them than I did the last thing I did. Oh yes. So, and they're different kinds of fish. I'm pretty sure that's a mackerel. I'm pretty sure that's the other kind of fish. Those are clearly not fish, and we'll get to those. And then there's herring. The cards are, well, things that you get, privileges in the game. The decks are, first of all, they're A, B, and C for each of the kinds of fish. And somewhat like in Agricola, I think you use one fish kind in a game to make the game slightly different. And they have, as in Glass Road, there's a cost, which could be wood, fish, or money. The name of it, there's I think there's points at the end of the game. The little stars are going to be about points. And this is the boathouse, so you immediately build a ship, a free sloop. I guess that's why you lose a point, because you get save an action. So there are a lot of different ones. There's 3 sets of the cards. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's actually herring. No, cod, right. It's herring, mackerel, and cod. Pretty sure that's cod, and I should know that because I was born in Boston. And the city's symbol, actually the Massachusetts state symbol, is the sacred cod. Not that we worship cod, but I guess we'd be in hell without cods earlier in our history. So there's a bunch of different ones. And the other kinds of cards are, I think they're called the elders. Yes, and they have a job, and you have to give them fish. And when you activate them, they give you an action that only you can perform. Pay 3 fish and remove some forests and build a building. So it's like a combo action thing for an action. I'm not sure about these values. They might just be the numbers and how many players there are. Like this is only for a 3+ player game. It's out in a 2-player game. This is only in a 4-player game. Based on the numbers, they stack a certain way, and we'll see that maybe later. Next up, we have the giant pile of card. Wow, all the cardboard is wrapped up in one thing. So we'll just rip that off. Turn these sideways. Make sure this is here. As you may have guessed, these are forests. They're cute little artwork. They are to go on the player boards. Here's a player board. And You punch it out. So the forests cover 2 spaces on the player board, and as in Glass Road, you have to clear the forest out of the way to get more spaces to build on. There's a place where you can pile up your stuff. This is where forests and buildings may exist. And across the bottom here, you build your fleet, and the uncovered number, 3 at the beginning, is how much fish you get when you go fishing. So obviously, if you build a very large fleet, you can get up to 12 fish. So each player gets a player board and a set of forests. Okay. And there's more forests. Let's get the forest player board sets out of the way. All right. In matching colors. Before we get to the other things in here. Yep, I think we're pretty much. Oh, here's one more player board. This has forests, and this little track is for putting fish on to feed those elder cards that I talked about with the special bonuses. You get things for putting fish on here, and you have to take fish off here to feed the elders. Over here is, I think, available elders or buildings are on this cardboard, which also has the fishing phases. Okay, each player gets a personal supply. Oh, so it's up to 5 players that their items can go on. There's some 10 fish markers, and you also have personal shares that you can issue to get money and buy back to buy from the other players' shares that are out there in order to take advantage of their capabilities. It's a little extra thing that's in there. Money, more shares for each color. Oh, this is the board the elders go on. I think this is the board that available buildings will be on. The elders, you can see they stack up specifically. The 1 under the 7, the 2 under the 8, the 3 under the 9. Okay, and then for 4 more players, there's some extra builders that come in later. The ships that are available to build will be piled up here, and more shares and money. And here we see the action board and some little 1 tokens. It's actually a worker placement game, so you can place 1 worker on the places that are marked with a 1, but up to 3 workers or 2 workers on places that have a number. So not all the spaces are 1 use only. And this is the 3 to 4 player board, and on the other side we have the 1 and 2 player board. You can play this solitaire with, and the 1 and 2 player board, you can see that none of the actions allow multiple people. Then there are the ships that you can buy. That would be a schooner, and as we saw before, when you build them, you're going to place them like this. So if you have your initial boat in a schooner, now you get 6 fish, and then you keep adding as you buy more ships to make your fishing fleet more powerful. Now I punch that out. Well, I won't lose it. All right. And the ones. And you can see the actions get, and you probably could have guessed them. Get a gold, transfer some stuff from your reserve to your active area, serve some fish, which gets you 1 gold when you put the fish on those platters, build buildings, issue shares. You get gold when you issue shares. As an action, you can buy all the available shares in the market, which go for less than the person got when they put them in. Then there's, remove a forest and get 5 wood. You can thin out, so you can get wood for each forest that you haven't cleared, which is an interesting change from Glass Road, I think. And reforest, you can put forests back on. Build a ship, take an elder, and when you take an elder, you use them immediately and in future turns. Otherwise, I think the shortness of the game would make that a problem. Then, I have no idea. Well, more. Oh, I think the buildings actually go here that you can get. There's also for 5-player games, you add these extra copy and action things, which people might recognize from Feast for Odin. And then in a 4-player game, there's a single copy action. And on these ones, you can only copy the row that it's under for each of these actions. More shares. This is, I think this has to do with the solitaire game. I'm not sure, but more of these. Oh, there's the A and B. I think these are different building things. More fish. Now, these are the turn order things depending on the game. In a 3-player game, you use these, and it basically tells you who goes when. And there are actions that happen on certain turns in the game when that player goes. It's a little complicated to go through. It's probably the most complicated part of the game, but in fact it's straightforward. So for two-player games, 3-player games, 4-player and 5-player games, these are distributed and they help you keep track of the turn order. You move the little white boat that you saw around to show who's up. More ships, some extra wood markers. The fishing phase. Oh, maybe this is where your elders go, and there's one for each person. Yeah, that makes sense. More ships and more elder boards. Okay, and basically those are all the components. They spread out. There's no giant board. Then there's the rules. The rules explain the game. As in most of Uwe's games, there are cartoony things that point to the pictures to show you what's going on with the game. Lots of artwork, lots of explanations, lots of color. Just what everybody expects in a game now, and it's here. I read the rules before, and they're pretty clear and straightforward. The first time you play, you'll want them with you because a few things are different, like the way the turn order things work and what happens during going home. Most of the mechanisms in this game, the idea of a personal supply versus the components that are available, that's a little different too. There's an extra transport phase before things get used, or can be. And it just goes through everything. Game end, scoring. There's a solo game included, and that uses the special solo game turn order thing. And then because there are so many cards with specific things, there's an appendix, and it goes through each of the elder cards, what they do, and each of the buildings in each of the decks. The only thing I noticed was that there's not a picture of which fish is which. You're going to have to figure it out and hope that I was correct in my explanation, but I'm pretty sure I can tell a mackerel from a cod, but I'm not positive that that's what the artist meant. So that's the new game. It's not supposed to be a super heavyweight game. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I really like Glass Road. I'm looking forward to this take on that kind of genre with development and worker placement and a pretty random set of buildings where you have to build a new strategy each time based on the buildings that come out and the order and the 3 decks. I don't know how good an idea it would be to build the decks, and who knows, maybe we'll see expansion in the future with new elders or even another mechanism. Well, thanks for watching. If you want to, you can subscribe to my channel. I occasionally put new ones up on YouTube. Other things I should tell you about: I'm involved with TotalCon.com, my local area annual in February convention. It's a lot of fun. We play a lot of board games. There's also a lot of role players there, especially old role players. Really, vintage role playing is one of the big features. I don't do it, and I'm busy with board games, but it's a great convention, very well run. And in February, what else is there to do if you're not a skier, right? Also, I'm involved in something called the Meeple League. The Meeple League is trying to bring competitive gaming to smaller and local events, and I and some friends are working on that based on the kind of competitive gaming that happens at the World Board Gaming Championship. In fact, some of the tournaments there are now part of the Meeple League, and some online play. You can check that out at meepleleague.com. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.